Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to one of your late night evening streams. We've got news about, Patrick Dorgu, his return, Matthias de Ligt, his return, Mason Mount, his return, a few boosts coming in there. We've got updates on Elliot Anderson being Manchester bound. We're going to talk about Le Mans, we're going to talk about Carrick, we're going to talk about other news stories coming out. We've even been linked to Baude of Barcelona, among many stories in today's live stream. And again, I apologise, I am ill. My voice is probably disgusting right now. I'm going to grab my drink actually. And I do apologise if I sniffle a bit as well. It's that time of year. I feel like everyone's getting ill. Everyone I know is getting ill, and actually it's because I've seen half of them in the last week. So maybe that did come from me. But it is just that time of year. But we've got updates on Carlos Baleba. We've got updates on not really updates on Carlos Baleba. Actually, it's just Man United like Carlos Baleba. Man United looking at Carlos Baleba. I feel like we've had a news update say that for every day for 6 months. So I'm not going to say there's Baleba news. It's the same old word. We still like him. We still like Baleba. We still like Anderson. We still like Wharton. Tonali and Stiller are there. I mean that really is the news. To be honest, you could say we are clutching at straws when it comes to that element of the news, but we do have updates on the injury boost. We do have updates from Michael Carrick with Everton on Monday, which is a disgrace in itself that every single game is being moved to a Monday so they can milk as much money out of Manchester United as possible. But we're going to talk about the injury updates first and all of that as well. But yeah, also, I do apologise in advance if for some reason I get any tics go off in today's live show, any weird movements, or if I just start saying something really weird or rude. It's just when I'm ill, or if I have a moment of stress. Sometimes it causes me to get functional tics that I can't control. It only goes off once or twice a year for a couple of days, and then it will just disappear for a year. But it's just when my body is ill, I just get these functional tics that I cannot control, and sometimes I can just start whacking things or just start saying some very out of pocket stuff. But it should be okay. I haven't had any issues today. Just had some issues yesterday, and we were fine in that stream. But just a warning in advance if I did just randomly hit my computer or just shout something rude. But hopefully that does not happen. But I always have to give a warning just in case, because who knows? Don't want people to think I'm mental. It's just something that apparently only women really get, and it's really rare. It's just how my body responds to stress, I think. And I'm not even stressed, just illness. But I want to talk about the news. I want to talk about the updates. I want to talk about the stories. So we got updates coming in on Patrick Dorgu to begin with from Sully. Sully is a good, credible outlet of information. He's very good when it comes to team news, academy news, injury news. Very accurate. One of the best people in the space for me. People gave him slander in the summer because he kind of said that Mbeumo was done, and then it wasn't done, and it didn't get done for 3 weeks later. But actually, reports came out that basically the Mbeumo deal was done. When Sully said it was done, and then Tottenham, I think, tried to offer more. So then Brentford went, actually, no, we don't want that anymore, when they just about basically accepted it and decided to put the price tag up even more. I think Sully's a good source of information, and he's given a big news boost on Dorgu. We've got big news boost on Dorgu and de Ligt. We've got updates on Mount and all of that as well. But he said this on Dorgu. Patrick Dorgu is making good progress on his recovery from injury and has been doing strength and conditioning work this week in Carrington. Dorgu is working hard with the physios and is on track with the set rehab plan, but still needs time. So there's a positive injury boost for Dorgu. I was hearing as well that the expectation originally was Dorgu would be back in April, but there's a feeling that Dorgu could be back maybe in 3 weeks and potentially makes it back for mid-March, maybe 2 weeks sooner than people first anticipated. And his recovery is going well, but as Dad says down below, don't rush him. If you want, let's be honest, we have 1 game a week. I'd rather Dorgu miss 1 extra game and we don't rush him back, and he gets that extra week of recovery, than all of a sudden we force Dorgu in early. He plays a game, he gets injured, he's out for the rest of the season. I'd rather him miss 1 game and be able to play again to the end of the season then rush him back, gets injured again, misses the rest of the season. I think it's also we've got to be very careful not to rush back players. And I think that was Ruben Amorim's biggest strength as a manager. Oh, Sully's in the chat. Big up to Sully and his reporting. Going back to Dorgu, I think he's a very important player. And I think the one thing that Amorim did well for me is actually, well, not just getting rid of Garnacho and the idiots, but the other thing I'll always give Amorim credit for is I felt like he never rushed back players like Shaw, like Mason Mount. I feel like he never really rushed back those players. And we've been, obviously Mount is injured now, but sure stay fit all season. And I think, hopefully Michael Carrick learns from that and goes, we've got one game a week. Patrick Dorgu's been great, but let's not rush anyone back. Let's take our time bringing people back. I think we have enough quality in the team to do that. I think Bruno Fernandes is the only player, and Casemiro probably, because we fall off about Casemiro, are probably the only players you might rush back because we need them, and maybe even Maino actually, just because they are our midfield free. If that midfield three stays fit, I think we can get top 5 this season. Bruno, Maino, Casemiro. If that midfield three stays fit, but you don't want to rush hamstring injuries, of course. But I think, looks like things are going well with Dorgu. There's rumours he could be back end of March, but again, nothing credible in those rumours yet. But it looks like he's doing well, and that's a boost there because the form Dorgu was in before he got injured was really good form. And, I think we missed him in that West Ham game. I felt that Luke Shaw, who has had a very good season, he just generally was off it in that West Ham game. And I felt that maybe Dorgu has a bit more attacking output, but he's working hard. He still needs time. Some people think he's going to be back April. Some people think he could be back March. We'll probably get more updates on that, but that's an injury there. But the interesting injury news came in from Michael Carrick in the press conference earlier today, and he said a few things. So, Michael Carrick on Team News, he said, Mason Mount is getting closer. I think we've been patient, so we don't want to push anything. We want him back, and he can have a big impact. He's getting closer, which is good for us. Mason Mount had a knock. He's been out for about a month nearly now. I mean, surely he's back for Everton, but maybe Man United don't want to risk it because he's made of breadsticks, basically, like one touch and... I guess United don't know what they're going to do with Mount, but I get the impression that's a bit Mount might be ready for Everton. He said with the Ligt, he's obviously working towards it. He's a little bit behind Mason, and they're just trying to do work with him to progress him. There is a feeling de Ligt could be back next month, according to some reports, but again, not the most credible reports. I can't remember who said it. There was a report that they think de Ligt will be back next month. But we have had updates from the club that de Ligt's recovery is going well. They think he'll be back soon. But when de Ligt first got injured, like back in November, they kind of made out it was a minor injury and he'd be back soon. We're basically in March. So this minor injury of de Ligt has turned into what I would call a more major injury. But in terms of the injury front, I think de Ligt, Mount and Dorgu are all looking on the right track. I think in a month's time, hopefully we should have all of those guys back. Big up to everybody in the chat as well. Alice Amman was completely useless on everything. Not everything. He got rid of Garnacho. I think he managed the injuries well. I didn't like Amran for his subs support. I think he was anti-United, anti-attacking. But you have to give Amran credit for things like getting rid of Garnacho. You have to give Amran credit for things like recognising how important physicality was in the Premier League and making sure that we did that in our recruitment. You have to give Amran credit for things like managing the injuries. There's things that Amran did well. There's things that Ten Hag did well, like winning trophies, big game management. But there's a lot of things that those managers did not do well. Ten Hag completely ignored Ahmad. Ruben Amorim completely ignored Kobbie Mainoo, for example. Hope Dorgu can regain some form and momentum from when he returns. Me too. I think with Dorgu, he's a confidence player because we'd see him go to Denmark, look really good. He'd come back to United and he wasn't doing the things he would do at Denmark for Man United. He wasn't taking on his man like that. And maybe it was a bit of confidence. And he had a couple of good games for United, scored a few goals. Then his confidence was on fire and he just looked so good, and the confidence he was playing with really helped that. So I think really with Dorgu, I think a big part of it is confidence. I think there's a player in there. And also people got to remember, Dorgu was 20 when we signed him? I mean, Dorgu is literally 21 right now. He was 20 when we signed him. He was so young. And I think because we were having a crap year last year and we had no left wing back, people were just expecting this 20-year-old that only played about 40 professional games in his whole career at Lecce to come to Man United, a club a million times the size of Lecce, and save us. And when he didn't, people were like, oh, we can't be that good. No, he's a 20-year-old kid. People don't realise that Dorgu is only a little bit older than Mainoo. Like, Dorgu is literally like 9 months older than Mainoo. And, we're expecting him to be our saviour. It's crazy. I think Dorgu has done well. I think he had good moments and bad moments in his first year at United, but recently, before his injury, he was looking good. You could see there's a good player in there, and I think Dorgu is one for the future, and I think it is a good bit of recruitment. I think Dorgu and Aiden Heaven last January is looking like good recruitment. I think these summer signings, all 4 of them now are looking like good recruitment. I know there was question marks of Isesco to begin with, but all 4 of them now are looking like good recruitments. It does look like the recruitment is getting better. I agree, Mason Mount is a good squad player to have. I do think he's a talented player. Just with his injury record, you can't rely on him, and on 300 grand a week, do you want him to be a squad player? Unfortunately, De Ligt has a pattern of serious injuries throughout his career. Sadly, he does. Look, if De Ligt and Leach were guaranteed to stay fit, I would say we don't even need to sign a centre-back in the summer. De Ligt, Leach and Maguire, you're heaven. Boom. But because none of them have a great fitness record, we probably need that extra centre-back. Eric Ten Hag was definitely better than Amorim. I mean, Eric Ten Hag won 2 trophies. Like, Eric Ten Hag's talent ID, 10 times worse than Amorim's. Eric Ten Hag's tactically probably better. Maybe he's not a wing-back, true. I mean, Dorgu, I think the last 2 or 3 games under Amorim, I think Dorgu played well in, but he's looked a lot better since Amorim has left. And to be honest, he'd never played wing-back. He'd only ever played on the wing or at full-back. He'd never played wing-back before he came to United. So maybe he was never a wing-back. We had such few matches under Amorim, probably by less injuries. Yeah, I think also, yeah, we had less injuries this season because of the less matches. Maino is like 6 months older than Dorgu. No, 6 months younger than Dorgu. Maino's still 20. Credit to you, Alice, for backing Dorgu from the start despite rough time endured. I saw glimpses of Dorgu and what he was capable of. I watched a little bit of him in Serie A, and I just thought, young player thrown into new league, new environment, team not doing well, very raw. I think, Dorgu was a 26-year-old that we spent £67 million on. I'd have been more critical of him, but he was a £25 million signing, a 20-year-old with very little experience that was about the future. And he's been playing like Bale, hasn't he? He's been playing pretty good lately. So big up to Dorgu. Big up everybody in the chat as well. Hope you're having a good day. I want to dive into some other news. So we got updates on that Dorgu is making good progress, which is good to see. It's doing well. De Ligt should be back soon. Mason Mount looks very close to being back. So that's a big boost in terms of injuries, and things look to be getting better there. But I want to talk about Elliot Anderson. I want to talk about transfer news and more. So this is a report that's a couple of weeks old, actually, but it links to what I want to talk about today. And that is that Elliot Anderson is Manchester bound this summer. Anderson is wanted by both Manchester City and United, but which side he goes to is not determined yet. Now, there's a feeling he's probably going to go to Manchester City. He's been leaning towards Manchester City, but I want to talk about Anderson and some positive developments that have been discussed into why it could be possible. So, first things first, for me, we need to go all out for one of Anderson or Tonali. If we can't get Anderson, we should break the bank for Tonali. I think in terms of a Casemiro replacement, they're probably the two. I think Balab's not been good enough this season. I think Anderson or Tonali. Now, rumours suggest that Pep will leave City at the end of the season, but City don't want to disrupt their momentum in this title race with Arsenal falling off, so they're not going to announce Pep leaving or anything like that anytime soon. So there's rumours that Pep will leave City at the end of the season, but nothing's been confirmed. If we get top 4 and Man City lose Pep, I think our chances of getting Anderson is 50-50. If we get top 4 and Man City lose Pep, I think our chances of getting Anderson is 50-50. If we don't get top 4 and City keep Pep, I think our chances of getting Anderson is 15% to us, 85% to Manchester City. As of now, I think it's 70% City, 30% us right now. But, that's going to change with what happens at the end of the season, of course. Manchester United are ready to make Anderson number 1. Manchester United's sort of plan is, Baleba was number 1, but he was Amorim's number 1. Now Amorim's gone, Anderson is definitely number 1. But United are worried about City, so they are looking at Stiller. They're looking at Mecha in the Bundesliga. They've also had a look at Tonali, but they're not, they're not confident that you can get him. Baleba is still there. Wharton is still there. I think Wharton has Liverpool all over it. I think Baleba will probably go to us, but with the way he's playing, you probably want someone that you think is more ready to fill those boots. There are some rumours Tonali only wants to go to Serie A. The thing is, Newcastle will want at least 80 million for Tonali. Serie A don't have that kind of money. I mean, they could technically, but Serie A clubs don't spend the kind of money Prem clubs spend. So if Newcastle want the money they think they should get for Tonali, it will have to be an English club, realistically. Yeah, there are bits of lemon in my drink. That's just sour. Who is Anderson to demand Champions League? He's also not worth 100 million. I agree that he's not quite worth 100 million, but I think he's an 8 million player. I'm just going to get tissue to blow my nose, guys. I'll be back in 1 sec. I'm coming back. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm quite far away. Sorry. I was like, I wanted to grab a tissue. Otherwise, I was going to be like the whole stream, and I realised that's really like not nice to talk, nice to hear. Look, there's major doubts around Anderson. I don't think he's worth 100 million. I think he's an 80 million player. I think he's well within his right to demand Champions League football. And I was going to say something else about Anderson, which I forgot. Oh, Tonali. I think Tonali wants to go back to Italy. Tonali's agent has been asking around. I think Tonali, if Newcastle don't get Champions League football, will want to move. I would love Tonali. I think he would be hard to get. I think if he did leave Man City for an English club, I still think Arsenal and City are probably above us in his list because how we've been the last few years and how obviously those clubs have been. And then I think Tonali would probably want to go back to Italy if he does leave Newcastle. I don't think it'll be an easy deal to do. But I think if we can't get Anderson, we should go all out for Sandro Tonali. But apparently Anderson is believed to be Manchester bound. It's Man United versus Man City, a bit like Semenyo. He will probably go to Manchester City. But, if we have a good season and City lose Pep, there's definitely chances we can get Anderson. Apparently Man United wants to sort of say, look, we have no midfielders. You will be the main guy. And if we get Champions League football, we can throw a bit more money at him. So that's our plan. Stiller is another option. Stuttgart will sell. Apparently, he's got like a 50 million release clause. The thing I will say is, Stiller isn't a Casemiro replacement. Stiller's someone to give Maino competition. Stiller is not a 6-6 in the Prem. And also, you've got to remember, 5 out of Casemiro's 6 goals this season are headers. We need someone to come in with a physical presence that can score goals outside the box, score headers, and be a bit more physical. And that's not Stiller. I think Stiller, for me, is an Agati replacement. For me, if we sign Stiller, Mateus Fernandes, and Tonali, you've got your Casemiro replacement, your Agati replacement, and you've got that extra midfielder you need for depth. And then we can always look at the academy like Jimmy Thwaites, Fletcher's, Kone's, if need be. But I think that's what we need to do. I think I like Stiller, but he would be like a sort of another name, but not the Casemiro replacement for me. Tonali looks like a United player. Anderson looks like a City player. I think Tonali is a Man United player. I know Newcastle fans will hate me for saying that, but I just think he's got that like Man United personality about him. But the problem is Italians, they don't really want to be in England. And to be honest, when the food is better in Italy, the weather's better in Italy, and everyone's better looking in Italy, and it is a bit nicer than England, you can't blame them. And also, they all speak Italian, so I don't blame, the Italians for wanting to stay in Italy. I think, to be honest, look at McTominay's glow up, Like, McTominay, have you seen it? Like, not only is he become a better player in Italy because the league's easier, but he just looks better. He dresses better. It's like the Italy glow up in football. It's mad. So you can't really blame them. How is Alice? Alice is good. She's just ill, which is annoying. I'm not even like ill. It's just a cold. Like it's just like gross feeling. Bookies are better in Italy. Tonali would like that. Yeah, I would love Tonali. I've said it a million times. I put Tonali. Look, Tonali fell off a bit this season. He was unreal last season. I think August, September, he was unreal. He's fallen off a bit, sort of November-ish time. But I just feel like Tonali is that Declan Rice type guy. I think he's more technically gifted than Declan Rice. I just think a Tonali Maino, Bruno Fernandes midfield would be unreal. And you can bring Mateus Fernandes in because he's 21 for depth for the future. Tonali and Mateus Fernandes. I just think if you can't get Anderson, that's what I do. Tonali better than Caicedo. The thing is, I think that Tonali had just as good as a season as Caicedo last year, if we're talking just the Prem. But because Caicedo plays for a bigger club, he gets more recognition. I can't say Tonali's better than Caicedo because Caicedo's won the Club World Cup. He's won the Conference League. Obviously, Tonali did win the Carabao Cup. But I think if Tonali moved to Man United and played like he did last season at Newcastle for Man United, then it would be a debate. It would be a debate, to be honest. I think there's a phenomenal player there. We should have signed Tonali from Milan. We were linked to him yonks ago, and we just didn't. Tonali's the only man capable of Bruno when he leaving. I mean, Tonali can't replace Bruno. You can't replace Bruno Fernandes with Tonali. Like one's a deep midfielder, one's an attacking midfielder. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes has a bit of that Bruno Fernandes creativity and personality. But look, I think there's a lot. I think Bruno Guimaraes will stay at Newcastle. I think Tonali's the only one that's potentially possible to get. I cannot see Bruno Guimaraes leaving Newcastle. I cannot. Should we talk about other stories? Hayden Hackney, we have been linked to him. It could be one to watch as a third midfielder for depth, particularly if Carrick stays, I guess. I also wanted to point out that Le Mans has played 21 games for Manchester United and only lost 2. That's a really good record. I mean, I don't know what Onana's record was. Should we look at this? Andre Onana win percentage for Man United. I mean, to be fair, we weren't that bad under Ten Hag. But we'll see what Onana's win percentage is. Onana made 72 appearances for Man United, and he won 34 out of 72 matches. Le Mans win percentage, Man United. Let me see if I can find how many games we won under Le Mans. Probably won't. It's probably too up to date. Probably not this up to date. So Onana had a 47% win rate. I don't know what Le Mans is. But now they're not giving me Le Mans data. But I mean, I just feel like we're winning more games now. We don't have Onana in there. 72 many appearances. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't like to be critical of Onana. Now he's left, but we just look so much better without him in goal. We look so much better now. We've got Seny Lamons in goal. The defenders look more secure. There's less mistakes. I'm less nervy when the ball gets played back. The thing that Seny Lamons is on, 4 times less salary, costs 15 million compared to 50 million, and he's bringing so much more. I almost think sometimes it's better to get a cheaper goalkeeper that's more unknown because maybe there's less pressure on them. I think with Onana, because he costs quite a bit of money, there was definitely probably more pressure on him as well. Whereas with Le Mans, because people don't really know who he was and he didn't cost much money, I think there being a little bit less pressure on him also helps from a mentality side, because confidence and pressure is 2 things that massively impact a goalie. And I think Onana, because his first couple of games were howlers, he never got that confidence. I think Onana had a 4 or 5 month period where he was really good for United and he was playing with some confidence, and then he went back to howler Onana. I mean, that Grimsby penalty shootout, we shouldn't have lost to Grimsby. I can shout at Amarin all I want, and it was a sackable offence from Amarin. But if you actually look back at the Grimsby game, I mean, that was Onana. I mean, he should have saved both the goals Grimsby scored. He should have saved some of those penalties that were right at him. It was painful. I think as well, Bayendier isn't good enough, and Vitek could potentially replace Bayendier. I think Vitek and Lamons as keepers for next season would be good options. Onana would have fallen like origami against Arsenal. I generally believe if we had Onana this season instead of Lamons, we'd be on like 5-6 less points. I generally believe that. It's baffling when there was a contingent who backed Onana for a while there. Lol. I mean, we should have just gone and listened to the scouts and not Ten Hag when it came to signing a goalie. I generally think had Ten Hag just let Ineos do their thing, bring him in the players, and stopped asking for Anthony and stopped asking for Onana and his ex-players, I think Ten Hag's chances of succeeding and would have been higher. Ten Hag could still be here. If we didn't spend 85 million on Anthony, we were going to go and get Elise for 35 million. That was his release clause at the time. So imagine if we spent 35 million on Elise, we then would have had the money for Harry Kane and we wouldn't have got Højlund. We then might have had more money to get a defensive-minded midfielder. I think they still would have got Agate, regardless of Ten Hag or not, who was probably a player we didn't need. But I do always think, imagine instead of Højlund and Anthony, we signed Elise and Kane. Imagine that. Like, imagine where we would have been. It's mad. It's mad. Every bad decision just comes back to we spent all this money on this player that Ten Hag wanted. And the scouts told Murta and Arnold, not to spend 85 million on Anthony, and that they should look at least say for 35, and they got ignored. The board ignored the scouts. The board ignored the scouts because they did what Ten Hag wanted, and I think Ten Hag maybe could have succeeded if he wasn't so bad at recruitment. Should have kept De Gea another season. Yeah, now looking back at it, I would have just kept De Gea for another season. Put that 50 million we spent on Onana on a DM, or if anything, we just should have kept Dean Henderson. Could have just kept Dean Henderson. To be honest, we only got 15 million for Dean Henderson, who had been playing in the Prem, whilst Man City got 20 million for James Trafford that only played in League One. Says it all. Says it all. Oh yeah, when Matic said what he said to Onana, I mean, oh my, that beef. And Onana was horrific in that Lyon game. He shipped 6 goals across the 2 legs. He didn't make himself look any better, did he, Onana? Alice, you've always been sick since I knew what's up. I was ill about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. Was fine for 2 weeks, and I got ill again. I know. But the thing is, I hadn't been ill for like ages, other than like tiredness and fatigue and burnout. I've not been ill for like so long. Maybe like, and then I got ill twice now. So annoying. Alice, do you think Tottenham could get a result at the weekend? I do. I think Tottenham are going to cause an upset at the weekend. I done my Prem predictions video on more Alice. Yeah, everyone asks how many channels I have. I have about 1 million channels, but only 3 that I upload on. Got this channel, which is just Man United. My second channel, Aquila Football, which is like transfer news, match reactions, like big news. And then more Alice is kind of like bonus videos. And it's just more raw, me talking more Alice. It's Prem predictions. It's like, we need to talk about Ene Aluko, the pundit who's waffling stuff all the time. We need to talk about Arsenal fans and how annoying they are. More Alice is just bonus content. Aquila Football is just big clubs. It's the big 6, Aquila Football, but because I don't do Man United content on there, I thought I'd do Newcastle because of the takeover in Champions League. I definitely want to do content on other clubs, to be fair. I do enjoy doing content on other clubs. Like Man United's my priority, but there's a part of me that's like, oh, maybe I should try and make a few videos on Sunderland because I watch them every now and then. I know what they're doing. If Wrexham get promoted, could make content on them. But Man United's just my favourite club to make content on. It's just a bit dry at the moment, I think, because we played, 63 games last season. We're going to play 40 games this season. We played, 63 or 62. It's just like, the problem is when you have 14 days without a game, we play a game, then we have another 3 weeks without a game. That's just the only annoying thing. Like, I love making United content, but sometimes I'm just like, I want to play more. I want us to be in Europe because it gets boring, doesn't it? If you had a choice of owning 2 world-class players coming this summer, who would you buy? Oh, probably, I want to say Mbappe, but I feel like it has to be a midfielder. If I could sign 2 world-class players, that's hard. Who would you say is the best DM in the world? Maybe I go Moises Caicedo as one. I like Gravenberch, I like Tonali, I like Caicedo, I like Rice. I think Tchouaméni's fallen off. I think I would rather go Prem proven. Oh, that's hard. If I could sign 2 players, if I could only sign, like Lamine Yamal was such an obvious one, but he plays on the right, and I feel like we need a left winger. But then, like Lamine Yamal and Mbappe are like the 2 most obvious names. Pavlovic at Munich is a shout. Pedri, yeah, but I feel like Pedri. I don't know if I played Pedri and Maino together. He's a shout. He's a shout. Like, if I'm being honest, I would probably be looking at it and saying it's difficult. Bruno Guimaraes, he's a shout. Luka Vuskovic is a baller at centre back. I tell you what, Spurs have got a player there. I just think I would probably just look at someone like Elliot Anderson and Bruno Guimaraes as 2 players to complete the midfield. But then I want to say Mbappe and Yamal, and I want to say Pedri, but I would have to be a DM, and it would have to maybe be a left winger. I'd probably just say like Yamal and make Ahmad and Blimo play on the left. To be honest, probably would have to do that. Pedri's a shout. It's just difficult. I would love a Prem proven player. I think I'd have to say Yamal. Maybe Moises Caicedo. I know he's dropped off a bit lately. I guess it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. Or Elliot Anderson. It's so difficult to think about it. Really. I feel like I'm missing out a really obvious one. Like dream window. Elliot Anderson. Bruno Guimaraes, never going to happen. Lamine Yamal, never going to happen. Nathaniel Brown at left back. Nuno Mendes at left back. Nuno Mendes at left back would be unreal. Bruno Guimaraes, Elliot Anderson, and Pedri would be the dream free midfield signings. You know, Yamal would be amazing. It's just never going to happen. Haaland would be nice. You think Elliot Anderson could be this season's Delap? Elliot Anderson's played a lot better this season than Delap did last year. I will say that. I wouldn't compare them, but imagine City spend 80 million on Elliot Anderson for him to be a Delap. I just don't think he is. Like Elliot Anderson's played for England. Elliot Anderson, like Delap was all right last year, but he wasn't like groundbreaking. Elliot Anderson has been phenomenal this season. What about Szoboszlai? Would you sign him? I would. I think Szoboszlai, Bruno Fernandes, and you bring in a top DM would be an unreal midfield next season, but never going to happen. Never going to happen. Desiree Doué is a player. He's a player as well. Young and raw, but definitely a player there. Listen, people. You know, there was some rumors from Ben Jacobs that we looked at Balde at Barcelona, but Balde wants to stay at Barcelona. Apparently, there's a few other stories going about that I didn't really cover in today's video, but they're not really that relevant. I just wanted to do a little live stream for half an hour and just really chat to you guys, to be honest, and get through some of the news and the injury boost. But look, listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's show. Thanks everyone for watching. I will be back tomorrow. See you next time. Bye.